Hello, good morning. My name is Bita Sadanandan, and today is the 2nd of March, 2026, and the time is 6:30 a.m. And the area of body we will be maintaining health of I would be practicing, teaching, or making a little more easier to live with is the area of the mediastinum through the Nirbeeja Yoga style. So this is basically my practice so that I get more comfortable speaking about my work. But the idea is basically that anybody who is listening to this live in howsoever manner, visible, invisible, get a little, get to hear something you haven't before maybe in maintaining your own health. Now, the region of the mediastinum is in the morning, most likely to be experienced differently than in the evening, when I would be also doing a live between 6:30 and 7. And in the morning, when the sun is just rising up, while people are just beginning to start waking up to what they like to do, making plans, checking through their itinerary, um, and maybe going through emotional experiences, kids getting ready to school, or it's a Sunday. And in my part of the globe, um, and they have Sundays its own set of unique challenges, kids and family members and everybody under the same roof. And maintaining the human morphic resonance field is some of the benefits that Nirbeeja Yoga makes available. Now, those who have a body that's human have genetic influences from wheresoever life has showed up. Now, there are news about human ancestors being Neanderthals or Denisovan, several discoveries being made. We heard about Africanopithecus, Australopithecus, and I have been thinking about Americanopithecus. There is something new discovered. There's a new skeletal structure discovered. But there is, I don't know about that, but there is this reference to Lucy. There is this movie Lucy also made, but there's a skeletal structure um, said to be the missing link when human beings began to become no apes began to become humans, and there are several other missing links still being figured out as to how we have a body that's human but so many varieties and how we look and sizes, shapes, and several details, and we are called humans, and we are uh, um, on the same planet Earth and maintaining health. And given that we know or don't know several details about where our human body has come from, evolved from, the influences on our body from wheresoever life has come, also in light of what we have heard about as quantum mechanics, and several such sciences which are just being discovered, we nevertheless have to maintain our health. So, given that there are things we know, we don't know, things that are still in different stages of being discovered, how do you maintain health if data is not the only way by which you maintain health? Also, when I'm saying the human morphic resonance field, when I maintain health, um, the genes that contribute to my body, which is also the family tree, also mother's family tree, father's family tree, but also the array of ancestors who also gave rise to my body. In shamanic thought lines, there's this idea that when you heal, those who came before you also heal, and also so do those who come after you. So, given there are things we know and don't know, and there are surgeries happening, there are people going through different experiences, there is the environmental influence on the human, on the human experience too, cosmic, miasmic, rheumatic, telluric, and several health maintenance practices, several ways of doing the right things, and we are all on the same planet Earth. How then do we maintain health, given there are things we know and don't know and new things being discovered? I'm repeating myself, but I call it as maintaining the human morphic resonance field. Because I discovered during 2 years of the pandemic that when I did Nirbeeja Yoga, at least more intensely during the 2 years of the pandemic, lockdowns which were announced because of several humans being infected, when I did Nirbeeja Yoga, fewer people were getting infected, and so lockdowns were lifting. That happened once, twice, thrice, and I got to know that's happened more times than I know of, than I have counted. So I was thinking, how is it possible for one person to affect health of many people and across the globe? Lockdowns were lifting. So that's kind of pretty interesting. But I don't know how far it went. But over time, I came to see that my body has genetic influences to a certain extent. To the extent that there is an influence, their health is also getting maintained when I take care of my health. So there's a science behind it. And I have been calling it as yoga, but there are several fine details. So it's not just quantum mechanics. It's a conglomerate science. I call it as conscience. When you maintain your conscience, conglomerate science, sin, cos, tan, trigonometry, your partial differential equations all getting integrated. And then it's also called yoga. Yeah, bringing together inclusion, and in such a way that you're going beyond inflammatory responses, also from your body. Manasa, vacha, karma, they say. By mind, by speech, or by action, when you don't harm somebody, how then life then shows up? How is health improved? Is one of the thought lines. But I didn't think about it. I was just thinking, I just found that when I behave in a particular manner, there are people who have not been very kind with me. And then I discovered my response to them also affects their health. So then I stopped being reactive. And then over time, I discovered there's a way by which I'm maintaining health. Karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. So how you do things, how then do you be, given that there are so many kinds of influences, also particles pelting on your body? So then, how then do you while there may be such influences, inflammatory causes, also our body is standing upright with our head right on top, just right for different kinds of particles to pelt. Yeah, we are like a standing post. But how then do you maintain health while there are inflammatory conditions too? It's also called the Vishnu on Kshirosagra. A plant, when it gets inflamed, it exudes a certain milk to say that the plant has been wounded. And we are like humans standing upright. When we get wounded, our milk of human kindness go through a little churn. Yeah. And we need to go beyond the visha that could inspire. Yeah, represented by the idea of the Sheshnag in Samudra Manthan. So if the Sheshnag gets a little inflamed and has poison and exudes poison, then life does not continue as well. Which is why Shiva, Nilakanta, took in the poison, and instead of getting it all out, then Parvati then did Visha Chikitsa so that the Samudra Manthan continues, the churnings of everyday living. How then do you maintain health without moving a muscle? Because our idea of yoga has been striking a pose, and I have over time discovered there is a way to maintain health without striking a pose. And I have no intention of climbing mountains or dancing. I mean, I can dance, but not as in, nothing heroic kind or big things, motions, just normal, ordinary, harmonious living. How then do you exercise if you're, say, lying on the bed and you need to maintain health? or you're just going about your everyday activities with a busy schedule, I discovered Nirbeeja Yoga. Yeah, game changer in how you maintain health, because it is like martial arts, art of peace, um, prayer, yeah, um, artwork, many kinds of artwork. It's like plein air painting. So it's like I'm painting the fabric of time space while I'm basically speaking with you. Yeah. And you dream the world into existence. Um, how then do you maintain your own composition such that life would like to listen to you? Because you're making nice sounds. Your internal body composition is not something very painful. I've often had the sense that when I'm quiet, I'm making more varied sounds than when I'm talking, because the range is different, because I need to communicate with people, but otherwise I maintain my silence. And how then do you maintain your composition such that you are pleasant to listen to, even when you're not making sounds? Yeah, that's also harmony. Um, but there is a how-to of it. And there is a lot of things I'm doing, including the choice of food I eat, the kind of activities I do during a day. Um, I'm also a clinical health facilitator, but I think this is there to be learned by people who are not just clinical health facilitators, but at least are health facilitators. You have a body that's human, you are capable of facilitating health. And this is not known by many people, because when you're healthy and you're doing healthy things, you facilitate health of people. Health is like, given that we have a body that's human and we are on a planet that supports life, we are required to be health facilitators, but we sometimes look at health as absence of disease. So which gets our perspectives needs a little course correction. Yeah. But having said that, um, the human morphic resonance field, given that my body has formed from several spheres of influence, including technology on which I'm speaking. I've had to learn different languages, which button to press to have which action showing up. So all of that, the different kinds of information that makes me different from any other person because of what they're doing versus what I'm doing. And having a body that's human. So no matter where you are, where you come from, when you maintain your health, what you do or what has been your past life experience, they also become better. So if you've been studying in a school, your school also becomes better. Yeah, because, well, you're the story that holds all of these different memories together. So when your memory is getting better, where all you come from, they all become better, depending on how much you're not fighting them and how much you are over time resolving your stories about them, resolving your own experiences about them, resolving how you work through several details, but are more honoring um, where you come from by kind of beading those. It's not just stories. Um, you're becoming in a memory through what you're doing today. So what you honor honors you and your life, but what you honor also tends to have a long life. Yeah, because you can have your phone, and how you relate with it is how long the phone works. Yeah, and so this is a different aspect of health. How you can help maintain the health of many people, objects, things, technologies, many. And I have a conscience, like conglomerate science, in a referenceable format. And I'm in different stages of teaching that, which is also called Dharmapada for soul satisfaction. Yeah. And then there is might, medicine intelligence therapy, which is how a person mythologically becomes a humane being. Yeah. And then there is connect dot marketing, which is as you make small corrections to how things are going, or if there's an error, then without much difficulties, without them people facing difficulties, we have a better life, such that there is no losses, but instead corrections made, and thereby people doing better. Yeah. So I have been doing what's been called as squirrel seeding, different ideas in different social media comments, um, 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 tweet, for example, or yeah. So I've ideas, videos, podcast stuff, content. So those who then listen have their own benefits from it. It's like a new seed. It's like a farmer dripples water, different plants, not necessarily an entire bucket onto a plant, but more like drizzle a little bit of water. So a little bit of pitter patter, rain, rain, all new crops, all just like that. So it's small content here, there. So my content has been happening since some time. And I've been noticing different people making content, their movies, their course content, their different creatives, new policies in constitution, government workings, different organizations functioning by new projects. And I've been thinking, yeah, work is happening. Yeah. So it's about how you contribute in making the world a better place to live in. Now, if you're going to be waiting for credit for everything, that's going to be a long wait. Yeah, at least women have a history of not being acknowledged. So I've come with a human, with a body for female. So given that, yeah, I'm working on changing that story too. But things are the way it is. They change when they change. When the conditions necessary for such change is there, that's when they change. You can fight it, you can rant, rave. There is a reason for everything. So when those reasons are met or those conditions are met, then change happens. It's like mm, caramelizing onion. You can put onion in a dish and not turn on the heat, it will not get cooked. And at a certain point, when the heat is just right, it becomes the right size of caramelized onion. You can chant stuff, you can pray on it, it won't change. Yeah. So, given that things are the way they are, you work with how things are. And I have a body that's of a female, of a woman. And we are in different stages of appreciating what in the world that means. So, I am facilitating health clinically and Nirbeeja Yoga style. Now, what does that mean? What's that? What experience does that give rise to? From the region of the mediastinum, but from the Shri Chakra. We have been looking at the Shri Chakra with the triangle, like these, yeah, um, not this way, but we've been looking at this way, the downward facing. We've been looking at the same Shri Chakra since some time. And then I discovered we don't know what in the world we've been looking at. Yeah, because this downward facing triangle of Sri Chakra, the centralmost triangle, is what we haven't been able to understand. It's been called the Shakti Chakra. But we have Maslow's pyramid, yeah, and that's what we've been functioning by. We have not been able to understand what is this Shakti Chakra, what is Shakti, yeah. But that's a whole new story, but that's also covered in my course. And I'm developing the course on learn.dynamicstillnesses.com. learn.dynamicstillnesses.com. So slowly content, lots of stuff which people have not heard about or thought about, even needs to be thought about. So how then do you maintain the human morphic resonance field from just having a body that's human? I discovered human bodies. Therefore, through these discoveries, that I discovered human bodies designed to live in life in the multiverse. There's this idea of Shri Gandha, yeah, like a sandalwood tree. Root parasite. When it grows, the tree that it takes support of and other complementary different kinds of trees also grow. So economy grows nice. So there's a science to it. And there's this idea of the Shrigandha. And I've been talking mythological stuff, which does not make sense, but this is there to be learned. And those who learn like this, Vittugunam Pattugunam, that is a seed has 10 qualities. Given that the seed has 10 qualities, you say Ravana. Given that the seed has 10 qualities, how then does this 10 show up as? Base 10. Tension or no tension? Oh, well, attention. Yeah, 10. Mhm. And lots of variables with the word 10 on there. Yeah, Dashavatara, Dashami. Yeah. So many other details. And then I came to 14, the 14 triangle of the Sri Chakra. That's the Parabrahma. No. You have to go, that 14 needs to be repeated so many times for you to get the benefit of Parabrahma, because otherwise you're functioning by 14 and don't know there are other numbers. Yeah, so many numbers. But that's also why it's called infinity. 0 to 10, and then 0 to 9, and then 10, and then 10 to 19. It's infinity. But then it's about over time becoming a humane being. Fine little details. I told you, the below the Maslow's, there's an entire pyramid that we don't know about, or rather, I've been discovering, and I'm in different stages of making available. Let's pay attention to the Mediastinum, because it's those who invest who get the benefit of it. It's kind of like um, Pakshi Shastram. When you pay complimentary money, paisa, Kubera is also getting compensated. So it's a certain vidya. So when you pay sufficient money, that is also the karmic exchange, but no, karmic balance getting restored, karmic balance maintained the way it needs to be. So my work is of that kind. Those who invest gain benefits because you would be doing the appropriate business transaction, appropriate honor of money. And then your life shows up in better ways. So accordingly to the health of the rightness by which you're doing things. So it's a Sri Vidya, rightness, correctness by which you do things. You bring a balance between left and right, between Shakta and Shakti. Yeah. It's not self-empowerment, it's self-empowerment. Empowerment. Yeah. Self-empowerment. Wow. Yeah. Oh, really nice. So the region of the mediastinum. The mediastinum is the second portion of the chest that I have segregated the chest region into 4 parts, out of which the mediastinum is the second part. Yesterday I did the thoracic inlet plus thymus. The mediastinum is the region where your heart is found. Yeah? I can't say place because your heart is found. Because if you consider the Buddha's idea that when you break a seed, you find nothing, but it's in that nothing that the entire forest is. Yeah. So the health of the forest depends on the health of nothing. Yeah. Also the health of the seed that then holds nothing together, such that from there the forest forms. And Nirbeeja Yoga is about improving nothing for the better. Why is it important? Because so the health of the health of the forest, the quality of the forest is nice and becoming better. How do you do that? Nirbeeja Yoga method. Yeah. Mediastinum is where the heart is found. So it's body, Stula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira. There's this idea of formed body and unformed body, like formed and formless. Kind of. It's different from matter and energy. Because matter becomes energy, energy becomes matter. It's in a infinite loop. This is other than that. So there is matter, energy, yeah, both becomes one or the other. And then there is formed, unformed. Birthed, formed, unformed. Yeah. So it's like when you cook or you boil water, water, boil, and then there is depending on the quality of water, you could have precipitates like cement in the bottom, or you could be left with nothing, water vapor, all gone. Yeah. So that clear water. So there's a formed of water, and then there is clear, nothing there to contaminate the water, which is also there in the water. So you could have a glass of water which is not having that clarity, but it is still water. So formed and unformed, both there, like that. And that's different from matter and energy. So the water, substance, all this is dynamics, matter, energy, and the clear versus no clear. Okay, there, what is missing is present by its absence or absent by its presence. Yeah, there are things we know that we don't know. So in yoga, in Nirbeeja Yoga, we include these details. How then do you work with what you don't know? You could quite lose it, because a baby born from a mother's womb starts, yeah, because the lungs begin to start functioning. So there are things we don't know about. So what am I talking about? Mediastinum. I invite you to bring your attention to your chest and notice the gentle expansion and contraction, or the gentle movement of your chest as you're breathing. As your lungs are expanding and contracting, your chest may be moving in some manner. Pay attention to the movement of your chest, front and back. That is, in the front, how's the chest moving? In the sides, how's the chest moving? In the back of your body, how's your chest moving? Because your rib cage holds that space of the chest. And inside the rib cage is the lungs and the heart, and the mediastinum, in which the lungs and heart have a placement, like jaw placement, and their particular composition, their own structure, which then complements the work. And there is also the thymus there. We worked on it yesterday. And notice the regular rhythmic movement of your chest as you breathe in. Sometimes you may not be familiar with this, so there could be burping, there could be release of gas, or some form of a difference in how your breath is moving or your emotional experience. Now, these are all part of how your chest behaves when you pay attention to the rhythmic movement of your chest, especially if you're not familiar with paying attention to your chest in this manner. Once you begin to start getting familiar with this, and it's a regular part of your awareness, then you tend to have it's like a compass divider, one point of attention on these movements, another on your everyday activities. So they say maimil pragnirli. So you are aware of your body, yeah, and going about your daily activities. So it's not just, oh, there, and you could bump against a wall. No. Maimil pragnirli. So have an awareness about your own body. Now, try and bring attention to the space inside your chest, inside your rib cage. And your rib cage occupies a certain space. I don't have a 3D image, but behind is your spine, and you have your rib cage. In the front of your rib cage is the mediastinum. About this region, you have a mediastinum with the manubrium and the xiphoid process on top. So about here is what's been called the manubrium. Your collarbone rests on the manubrium. Then there's this breastplate or the sternum. And about the region above your solar plexus, about there, is a xiphoid process. It's like a knife-like kind of sharp, rather sharp, not something that's going to pierce into your tissues. Bluntish sharp, yeah? And you have 12 rib bones, left and right sides, 12 plus 12, and 2 floating rib bones. So they are connected at the spine, but they are floating. If they are all together, your liver and your spleen and your stomach will all go into, yeah, they'll be strangulated. So nature has opened them up. They're floating in front, so that when you breathe, your liver and your spleen and your stomach, they also can breathe, yeah, without getting congested. So 12, have I lost it? Is it 10 plus 2 or, yeah? Because I've been counting in terms of 14. So, oh, okay, yeah, yeah. 10 fully rib bones, and then 2 floating bones. And I was thinking that the collarbones, they are not counted as rib bones, but they are related with the manubrium. So I've been counting them. Yeah. Also, and then so that would form the 13th. So 13 on one side, 13 on the other side. And the 14th is, if you kind of can imagine, what do you say, a bead, like the idea of money content. Yeah. Consider there's a bead here. So that would be like these 2 collarbones are holding a certain space there. There's nothing there. But if you regard that to be a certain space, if there was a bead there, yeah, then that would be half and half, together maintaining 14. How do you maintain half and half? Well, you have 2 sides of the body, and this is one part of. Why do I say that? Because mythologically, there's this idea of the money content. Now, who's going to bell the cat or the Mani Padme in Buddhist way of thinking? There's a Mani Padme, but they're talking about one whole. You're like a Adam's apple, like the voice box, but it could be something that's choking your voice, or it could be a sound which is there without you actually making a sound, because there's a certain presence, and which gives rise to sound of life without making a sound. That's a kind of like a mukamika. Quiet, has a presence, even if you're not talking, where the mute can speak and the deaf can hear, are also fine sensibilities. Yeah. But that is what becomes possible and then you're not going to listen to, okay, what did you say again? Yeah. Your body is already listening. And when you're able to listen, through awareness, through sensory appreciation of life, without you looking into the matter, but appreciating what information is coming to you, then you have less stress tension to manage. You're just eating what's on your plate, the food that's coming into your plate. You're discerning if it's edible or not, and then um, maintaining health, not just eating anything that comes to your plate. But that's part of discernment. And how then do you discern what is good versus not? Also awareness and discernment and tattva shuddhi, clarity in your conscience, in your ways of thinking, such that you are maintaining being you versus somebody else. If you're going to be functioning as somebody else, then one man's food could be another man's poison, and you could be eating poison. Yeah. Also, I discovered a human body is made up of complementary partner, Ardhanarishwar. So if I'm going to be eating my partners, like the heart, my half, and my partner's half, like semi-Dirac fermion, half and half integer, half and half milk. Okay. If I'm going to be eating my partner's stuff, yeah, who's going to feed him? Or if he's going to be eating my stuff, then how am I going to be nourished? So maintaining your half the way you need to, so that your complementary partners is maintaining health the way he needs to. Yeah. Behind every woman is a man, and behind every man is a woman. The ultimate woman is a man. The ultimate man is a woman. These are some sentences which would, yeah, you wouldn't, don't blow your mind over that. Yeah, don't split hair. But that's also called Advaita, Advaita, and Vishishta Advaita. Yeah, fine little details. How to understand that? Some little details like, for example, being able to pay attention to your skin. Can you feel your skin? Can you feel the warmth about your skin? let's just say about the region of your chest. Can you feel any sense of warmth in your chest? Can you feel softness of the tissues in your chest? Can you feel the space in your chest? So up, down, left, right, front, back, in, out. Your lungs are expanding and contracting. They're not functioning in a tight space. There is space. So pay attention to the space that's off your chest in terms of tissue softness, warmth, space, relaxation, ease. Do you notice any of that? And as you're noticing space, relaxation, is your breath tending to deepen in any way? Is your breath tending to be more relaxed in any way? They don't have to be, but do you notice anything like that happening when you pay attention to warmth, softness, space, relaxation, ease? Because your attention to the details that make your body human and a humane composition at that, and your body is already doing a certain yoga. So your appreciation of what your body is already doing in keeping your life together and keeping you alive and in maintaining the health of your body is like acknowledging your mother who may be doing a lot of work, but you have no time to look at all of that. And she would be experiencing dukkha of many kinds. Yeah, untellable. And she may not even be writing in a journal, which is far worse than that. At least if you wrote, there will be some expression, telling that out. But if you neither, sometimes she's not written, maybe she's not gone to school, even a little bit of education, helps them actually represent. They could draw, of course. You could draw, you can make paintings, carvings, your artwork, which is also some ways by which to express. Or you could do gardening, but there are other artworks, there are other ways by which to express what's happening inside. Even if you can't say write or speak in many languages, or you may or may not have friends, a lot of time they are working by themselves, like your body. When you're not aware of what your body is already doing in maintaining you being alive, that's like the mother of the home, yeah, going about activities, doing stuff, and you don't even care enough to give your body rest in between work, yeah, or sufficient food. Talk, 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 do work, not give sufficient food, no water, no sleep, no fun. Do you know fun is a necessary ingredient in your everyday activities of living? People who don't take time or make time to have a little bit of fun or include fun in their daily itinerary have health concerns, at least mental health, emotional health. Oh, what are you talking about? Joy, happiness. You need to schedule time for happiness, and that doesn't mean watching movies also, but it's about what kind of movies you're watching. You're going to be watching all dukkha and then, oh yeah, cry. If that's your way to let tears out, then go watch movies. Because if there's no other way to clean your eyes, then you should watch those movies. But if you're going to there are other ways to clean your eyes. For example, you could chop onions. That's a good way to clean your eyes, and some of the tear glands and biochemistry all just flows out a little bit. And then your brain will be a lot more easy. That also you could do. But yeah, there is benefit to tears too. Yeah, very nice. Or you can pay attention to, say, light music, sound of ocean waves, or nature sounds. Spotify has a list. Like my Spotify account, Bita Sadanandan, has a list of nature sounds. Yeah, my Spotify. It is shareable. You can search it up and you'll find. So I keep adding stuff to that. So so you'd find many kinds of playlists on Spotify. And then or you could create your own list. Yeah, share from, yeah, so you can make that too. For example, also, do you make food which is for your own well-being? Do you cook for yourself? Which is not necessarily cooked by somebody else, but you for you. Which is some of the ways by which you take care of yourself, but it's also a way by which you have fun. not waiting for somebody else to give you that good time. One thing. Another thing is that's also how you integrate partial differential equations. Otherwise, it's not there, it's not there, not there. Do you provide it to yourself too? Or are you waiting for somebody else to provide you? Yeah. In which case, to that extent, you have dukkha because you're waiting for somebody else when you can provide it for yourself. Yeah. Somebody wise said, if you're looking for a helping hand, you will find two of them at the end of your own arms. Those who have arms. Otherwise, you have a body that's human, that's alive. You have what it takes to make available for yourself, which is only possible from having a body that's human and alive. That's why it's also called Buddha's hand. What's the sound of one hand? The sound of one hand. So your body, limbs, no limbs, you're alive, you're one hand. Yeah. And you have a sound, your body's making a sound, and you're your own partner, but actually you're thumb fisting with the macrocosm. You are the microcosm and then macrocosm. You are thumb fisting with the macrocosm by just having a body that's human. And of course, God hears you. What are you talking about? You're alive. You're on a planet that supports life. You think God's not hearing you? You would be on, say, some other planet which cannot support. I mean, oh my God. They are yet to discover the element of wood. Yeah. So different stages of um, discovering what it means to have a body that's human, alive. So what is the benefit of it? So we are like a nature's culture system to discover what all is possible from having a body that's human. And I'm saying human beings are designed to live in life in the multiverse. I'm in different stages of making those courses available. I call it Shrishti optimization. Creativity. As you're doing the right things, I discovered during the 2 years of the pandemic that lockdowns were lifting because less people were getting infected. And that means so many economic challenges. Work from home, lockdowns, many, many challenges. They were turned around, which means no strike, no hartal. Work gets affected. If one human being can have an economy function like that, yeah, what is possible when all of us who have a body that's human, we can start having Shrishti optimization thought lines, or rather, Mediastinum intelligence thought lines. It's a whole world of a difference. Yeah, it gives every room a meaning, and meaning and reality and some of these challenges are part of what they call as a hard problem of consciousness. Some of the problems that Mighty is helping to solve, Mediastinum intelligence. So whole suite of benefits. How is your chest doing after listening to so much talk? If you can continue to feel it and feel the warmth, softness, moisture, sense of relaxation and ease, your mediastinum is also doing well. Within which is your lungs and your heart and your thymus and your bony framework, which is having an effect of the nothing. Okay, mediastinum is not necessarily nothing. Mediastinum is a space in your chest and the space in which your lungs and heart and thymus and different structures are there. And there is nothing, which can be improved as the elements of your body becomes more finer, refined, less contamination. But that's also going beyond preconceived notions, impressions, which then make the stories of your life. So as the stories are getting finer, refined, there is a fine weave between the four kinds of Vedas: Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Saman Veda, Atharva Veda. The weave that's your body, which didn't just drop out of the sky. Yeah. Several civilizational threads have also formed the weave that's our body. So all of those different weaves, at least 4 weaves. I have 4 brand values. So they also are referencing from the 4 Vedas. Also, yeah. So when the weave is all there, the basket of life that you are, yeah, all nice, fine. That's like wearing a chaddi. Yeah, your basic garment, your body. Martial arts practitioners would have a gi. So your skin like a weave, but also like a basket of the life that you have. Cornucopia, all the fruits and flowers and vegetables. And I must be really hungry. Yeah, but the goodness of life, and then how you live life, and then you're healthy, and then you're choosing healthy, and then you're doing healthy things, and then you're facilitating healthy stuff. That is sunny side up. That is some of the benefits of yoga too. Yeah, how do you maintain your life like that? Nirbeeja Yoga and Mighty Suite of Values. 4 brand values. Nirbeeja Yoga, Dharmapada for Soul Satisfaction, Mediastinum Intelligence Therapy, Connect Dot. In 10 trademarks. 4 brand values, 10 trademarks, 2 logos, 2 more on the way. We come over it. Yeah, but if you're interested in being the early bird participant, then click on learn.dynamicstillnesses.com and invest. After investing, participate, because investing has some benefits, participating has other benefits. And then how all you participate have multiplications from there. Yeah, very fine details, a lot of fine living benefits. Thank you so much for your kind interest. Thank you for joining me in whatsoever manner you have joined me in this live in maintaining the health of your body. And we will meet in the evening, 6:30 to 7. We have a live hackathon, but if I'm not showing up, then I will leave a message. But if I am, then we will see. We will meet. Good day.